Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Bullseye, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Borka.
And I'm Steven.
Hello, gentlemen. We have gone from a smaller crew to everyone plus one being here. So, we are ready to talk about a lot of stuff today. How is everybody doing? How are you doing today, Borka?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's just fantastic. Drinking a little cherry obituary liquid death and chilling.
Living the good life, I see.
Oh yeah, I got Indian food coming too. So.
Oh God, I'm jealous. Okay. How are you doing today, Steven?
South Carolina is hot.
That it sure is. That it sure is. How are you doing today, Brandon?
Well, finally got inside and I can enjoy the life now.
You are no longer working outside, so you can exist in an AC environment. I'll take your silence as a yes.
Exactly.
Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been in the AC all day.
Jealous. I bought a new lawnmower, and I've been cutting my lawn before this, so I am very sweaty. For those of you who live elsewhere in a different biome than the rest of us, there is a major heat dome on the eastern United States, and we are all suffering. But we're all surviving over here. So let's talk about MCP stuff. They came out with a new set of affiliations for the new characters, and there are very few surprises, but we should still mention it. All of the characters coming out in the Brotherhood box are, shocker, Brotherhood models. And, oh gosh, Lady Mastermind also is in the Hellfire Club affiliation. And then Phoenix is in the X-Men affiliation. Is that it? Is that everything that they came out with in that update?
You forgot one, Fred.
What's the one that I forgot?
Oh man, I was really gonna enjoy watching you struggle to come up with something that didn't exist.
So I didn't forget one, is what you're telling me.
You got him, Fred. You did a good job.
Good job, Fred.
Hey, I get to hear that for the first time in a while. All right. Well, other than that, there's no new news out of AMG. So let me go over the upcoming tournaments that are coming up shortly. On June the 28th, there is a tournament at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That is run by Bryce, and this is going to be a team tournament where people group into teams of 3 and compete against each other. There was discussion about us going up and joining, but I myself, I think I'm out, and I think me being out means that nobody's going.
Yeah, you killed it, Fred.
Yeah.
I asked at least 4 or 5 different people, and we couldn't. Brad and I couldn't get a third. I mean, we probably would have done pretty okay with just me and him, but I think you had to have a third person.
Yeah, I killed it. It's on me, everyone.
I take back that good job from earlier.
Which no one would have known had Fred not just told everyone.
Right.
Hey, I own my failures on my sleeves. But okay, well, that is. If you are in the area and are interested in participating, head on over there. And if 3 people show up who aren't in a team, you're now a team. I don't know how to do this. I actually don't think that will work because you're not allowed to share characters across your different teams. So hopefully you all come with a plan. That's what I will say. All right, coming up later in July, on the 12th of July, there are actually 2 tournaments taking place in our area of understanding. At the Mighty Meeple in Concord, North Carolina, there is going to be a tournament. I believe it is just a normal tournament. And also, there is a tournament at Recess Games in North Olmsted, Ohio. I cannot speak about the Mighty Meeple. I've never been there, but I have been to Recess Games, and it is a great space. I highly recommend that people who are nearby go and check that out. I'm sure the Mighty Meeple is also great. Hey, Steven, do you want to talk up the Mighty Meeple a little bit?
Actually, the one good thing I can say, I don't drink alcohol, but they do have a bar there available for people if you would like to take advantage of that.
Hey, there you go.
Steve, is it in the mall,
So-
the Concord Mills Mall, or is it just in Concord?
No, it's just in Concord. It is separate.
Okay.
So, but it's around that loop area where the mall is.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it's actually a really, really good space. I would recommend it. More people, more better.
Exactly. Number go up good. All right. And then coming up on the 19th of July is the next Appalachian Cup tournament. And that is at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. That is our local game store. I will be in attendance to this tournament. I know I've said that for the past couple times and then didn't show up. Again, I'm owning my failures. But like, I will be this one. I will be there. And
Hey, at least when I say I'm coming, I come.
Yeah. Well, I am sorry. I've had a busy couple months actually. But this time I will make.
Go ahead, Fred. Finish your thought.
I'm just saying I will make the effort to be there to this one.
There are currently 16 people signed up, and the first 18 get special cards.
No.
Am I in that 16 people?
I believe
should
you
be.
are signed up.
I believe I'm already signed up. I do need to update my list, but
Am I actually signed up? I don't think I am.
I don't think you are.
That doesn't sound like something I would do.
Are you gonna make it, Brandon?
Possibly.
Brandon, if you're not
Okay,
signed up,
all right.
you should, because one of those cards is a card you literally tell me to get printed every time we talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I probably should. I plan to be there, barring
Okay.
something popping
Just
up.
sign up.
Yeah,
Just
sign
sign
up. And then withdraw if you're not going to make it. But sign up so that you can get that thing when you show up because
could
you're
pull a
going to make
friend.
it. Alrighty. Well, those are the tournaments that we have coming up. Today, we are going to talk about our local tournament that took place this most recent Saturday. And the only person on the podcast who participated in that tournament is Borka. Oh boy. So, I'm gonna let Borka talk about his experience in the tournament, and then I'm gonna throw it over to Steven because Steven has a couple games to talk about also. I don't have anything of use to talk about in this section. I don't know about Brad. I don't know about Brandon.
Hey,
But,
first, I think Borka should go over his list that he played in this event.
Yeah. So Borka, why don't you tell us what you brought, and then talk about the games you played?
Yeah, that was going to be my plan, kind of start. I went with a idea that we've been kicking around for a little while. I know years ago I made the comment that, you should just play all twos because they're all pretty close to being a three. So it gives you a really, there's an advantage to it. And then I think we were coming back from a tournament and I thought about Mephisto with all twos. And I tried it, played a couple games with it. It seemed to be missing something. On paper, it seemed like a good idea because Mephisto has a lot of tactics cards, and that's kind of the challenge is most of the twos don't have tactics cards on their own. But got an idea maybe 2 weeks ago, and Brandon and I were kind of talking about it, and it's Dracula with a bunch of twos. And that seemed like a better idea. And then what was it? Tournament Saturday, Friday. I was trying to decide what I wanted to play, and I was just like, you know what? We've had a busy week. I was tired. I was like, I'm just gonna bring a fun list, have some fun with it. So I've got my list is Dracula, Groot, Rocket, Raccoon, Bullseye, Bob, Agent of Hydra, Nebula, Okoye, Toad, Black Widow, and Wong. My tactics cards are Thralls of Dracula, of course, Deadly Duo, We Are Groot, Vertical Assistance, Recalibration Matrix, Survival, Warpath, Joint Effort, Brace, and Sacrifice. And then for Crisis, I had Guardian Save, Shayer, Empress, and Style, Mutant Man turns City into Lethal Amusement Park, Superpowered Scoundrels form Sinister Syndicate, and Spider Infected invade Manhattan, struggles for the cube, and Terrigen and Canister fuel Doomsday Device. Well, so the idea there, of course, is try and get as many points on the board as possible. I took all 3 of the 5 extracts that are 17. 17 is a nice place for me because I can take, is it Dracula and is it 6 twos at that point? So it's like 7 wide at 17. And yeah.
That's disgusting.
And it actually worked out because I ended up my first 2 games were at 17, so it felt pretty good. But yeah, jumping into it, round 1, I played against Johnny Blastow, and he and I had played before. I think I was playing Defenders in a terrible run I had in a tournament there, and he was playing Dormammu. And I thought I had the game in the bag because turn 1 it was something like 7-2, or I can't remember, but he just slowly started murdering everybody with Dormammu, and I lost 20-19. So this game, he brought.
Just to clarify, you mean in your previous experience with him,
Yeah.
not in this game?
Right.
Okay.
So in this game, he played Cabal and didn't bring Dormammu, which was kind of relief because on one hand, I thought Dormammu might have a hard time against 7 wide at 17. But I was also worried he would just like pick up several guys every turn. So he was playing Cabal, and I'm pretty familiar with Cabal. I actually played him quite a bit, but he played Red Skull 1, and then I played Dracula, of course. And it was 17 threat. We had Struggle for the Cubes and Intrusions open. So I was excited to play his Intrusions because that was kind of my first test that I wanted for the list was how do they do when there's only 3 secures on the board. Well, the advantage was even though he had priority, he didn't take the middle extracts, and I was able to grab a hold of it with Toad. And then I went up 3-2 on the extracts, and I just had so many bodies. I can't remember exactly what he played, but I think he only had 4, maybe 5 characters on the table. So with me playing 7, technically 6 because Nebula can't score, but Nebula is pretty good at evening attrition for you pretty quick. She hits so hard. And I also had Toad. I said, what's his name? Bullseye was in that first run. I couldn't bring Groot, but I did bring Rocket, Bob, Toad, Nebula, and Okoye. Yeah, I think that was the 6 that I ran there.
It just sounds nuts that you have so many people. I understand the math of it, but it's just so many. At 17.
Oh, yeah. And it really is that. So one thing about it is when you think about a typical game at 17, you're probably playing 4 or 5 characters, most lists, right? Mm-hmm. And what tends to happen is if you only have 4 or 5 characters, your people have to pick stuff up, and then you eventually need them to go stand on points, right? And when you're standing on points, that opens you up to getting attacked twice by one character's activation, and it just the grind happens. But when you have so many little bodies running around frantically, you kind of tell your team like, okay, you 3 or 4 guys pick up points and run away, and then us couple will go stand on these 2 points and just kind of fight as long as we can. And then the upside of that, of course, is that Dracula is really good at fighting people because he does most of his attacks on their turn anyway. So he's just kind of standing on a point, and they're like, well, I can attack him and get attacked back, or I can just let him stand there and he's already scoring a bunch of points. So it does kind of, ask a question of your opponent, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
But long story short, that game, it ended. I scored 16 and he scored 4. I was just able to really outscore him pretty quickly. Dracula, I think people forget about the fact that he has that hypnotic stare. So he's just really tough to take points from. And the game went my way, 16-4. I was happy. I was kind of joking with Brandon and Jared before the game. I was like, I'd like to win at least one game. That would feel pretty good. My second game ended up going against CJ. He's a local player in our meta, and he's pretty much always plays Spider, Web Warriors. And we ended up on Spider Affected and Extremis. And once again, I think he ended up, I know he took Amazing. Yeah, so he was only 4 wide, and I was 7 wide. And I learned in that game, right? I learned in that game that I really like D shapes with this list. So I actually changed my list that night after, and I added both of the D shapes to it, because being so spread out and your opponent usually only having 4 or 5 people, puts a lot of pressure on them. You know what I mean? Like, you end up with 2s that don't even get into fights throughout the game. His Amazing Spider-Man did pretty good, but the problem that I like Amazing, but my problem that I've always had is he doesn't have any real displacement on himself. So he ended up fighting on my bottom Extremis against, it was like Rocket, Okoye, and Bullseye. And Extremis is nice. And then when you pair that with Dracula's leadership, everybody was healing off of the Extremis portals and then healing off of the fact that you're giving everybody bleed. That's another nice thing about Dracula's leadership, is when you have 7 guys on the board, your opponent's team is always bleeding because you've always got somebody who can make somebody bleed. And that, once again, that turns Dracula on, right? So when he does the spender, he gets full rerolls. But that game, it went my way too. I scored 16 and he scored 10. So 2 rounds into it, my margin of victory is pretty high. I don't think I've had any of my characters die. Yeah, no characters died in the first 2 rounds of the game.
That is impressive. You mean KO? None of them KO'd?
Yeah, KO. Nobody came off the table. Yeah, some people got days. But that was a tough matchup because, as a Web Warrior player, and too, Fred, like, they can be a little pillow fisted at times. And so once you factor in that, most of your defenses are 3s anyway on all the 2s. And then you have people like Okoye. I played Black Widow for her long move. All of Web Warriors' attacks are physical or energy, right? And they both count blanks on physical and energy. And, Okoye's got the reroll. So the list feels a lot tankier. Dracula is also a problem for Web Warriors because he's size 3, so it's hard for them to displace him. They don't ever like attacking him if they get too close, because when he smacks back, he hits him hard. He puts out a lot of conditions on his own. Web Warriors also don't like bleeding because they don't have real big hit point pools. So
bleed is the thing that, like, they will all be bleeding, and that will kill them all. That is
right.
A terrible place for them to be.
Yeah. I mean, at some points it felt like a stagger. You know what I mean? Because they had to shake it.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm riding high. I brought my Dracula list. I've got it to the final table. I'm like, hey, I've done what I came to do here. Brad was actually rooting for me because I won the last tournament we had here with Asgard, and I got the really sweet custom Cyclops card that AMG put out. It's like hard plastic. And I had told Brad then, I said, well, if I win a second one, I'll give you mine, just to make sure he gets it, because Brad is a X-Men fanatic.
And
so he's like, I'm pulling
Cyclops
for you in this round. Right, yeah.
And on a massive cold streak.
Hey, I won 1 in that scramble out of 2. So
yeah.
I did okay. I was in the finals.
You were. I think you got your first loss on Intrusions with Apocalypse. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't need to rehash that.
Oh yeah. That's old stuff.
I also don't want to let it go by that you named your list Dracula.
Yeah. Brandon
Props.
Akers is. As soon as I told him, he said, "Oh, you should call it Nosferatu," and I was like, "Yeah, that's probably better." But
Oh, that's even better.
it was so much better that it was almost obvious, though. You know what I mean? I didn't want to take the obvious route. But yeah, speaking of Brandon, I actually pulled him in the final round. We were both 2-0.
This is other Brandon. This is
other
the
Brandon.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Better Brandon.
better Brandon. Yeah, Brandon won. I think he's still like the top-rated Black Order player in the world. But he was not playing Black Order. He was playing the same list he brought to the first App Cup qualifier, which is a Captain America First Avenger list. And he always brings like Doc Ock 2 and Gambit. So he's got two guys that under First Avenger are just blenders. I mean, they put out a ton of damage, being able to switch those hits into wilds. So I was kind of worried about this game, and I got really worried about this game when we ended up on his wedding party. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I wanted to try intrusions early on. Wedding party is like that on steroids because there's only 2 points. But the way the board kind of laid out, my right side of the table, say on the right wedding party, I had Dracula, Okoye, and Black Widow. And he ended up putting Iron Man and Shang-Chi on that side of the table. And I knew Shang-Chi's a good matchup into everything. Basically, he's amazing. And I know he brought Iron Man because he brought Helios lasers. So I know his plan was to nuke Dracula off the table. And on his left side, he had Gambit, Doc Ock, and Steve Rogers' First Avenger. And then I think his last play, he had 2-point Black Widow. Yeah, because we played at 20. I guess I should have said that. And then my left side, I finally got to bring Groot, which I had to, right, to get to the 20. So I had Dracula, Rocket, and Groot, and I ended up with Bullseye, Nebula, Okoye, Toad, and Black Widow. Yeah. I left Bob. I really thought about Bob, but I knew I had to get Okoye on the table because I was hoping she'd be alive to eat the Helios laser shot. And I thought about Wong to have the healing, but ended up leaving Wong and Bob on the table and brought everybody else. So that put me 8 wide, and he was, what was he? He was 6 wide, which is pretty impressive when you think about it. At 20, it was a very good game. It was the closest game of the day. I think, yeah, he one-shot at Groot on turn 1 with Gambit, and on his backside, he went into him again because, of course, he's going to have priority. But he left Groot on 1, so he chewed through 13 health before I, really got to do anything with Groot outside of move him up onto the point. But luckily, he survived on 1, so Groot was able to. He did We Are Groot, and he healed himself, so he took a lot of that damage off of him. I used my spender into Doc Ock, and didn't do much damage, but I staggered him and threw him medium, and that was really important because as the game unfolded, that was really pivotal. And so Rocket, Groot, those guys, they were just. It was a slow attrition that I was not winning, but I was able to kind of keep it even on that side of the table. And we went back and forth. I think some of the biggest plays that worked out in my favor was Groot living on 1. That was big. And then as the game shifted, his Shang-Chi ended up, I think, with 2 or 3 cubes. I think he had 3 cubes on him, yeah. And he had a real big swing back turn. The game ended on turn 5, but I got enough of a lead built up in the first 3 turns that on turn 4, when he had the big swing, I was at 14, so I was only 2 away. And I wasn't able to get the tokens off of Shang-Chi. He got the tokens the turn prior by double moving with Doc Ock and throwing a size 3 terrain into Toad, who had 3 health, and I didn't block anything. So Toad dropped all three of the objectives, which that would have won the game there if Toad had survived that attack. But he didn't. Shang-Chi was able to pick him up, and that swung it back his favor. The saving thing, though, for me, his Doc Ock was still healthy and had not activated yet, and my flipped Okoye was able to make a walk and then spinner, and I one-shotted him with because she does 5 with Pierce and Pierce and Fury, so I think I did 4 and got the Pierce and the flurry, and then I finished him off with the strike. So that was big. So that took he didn't have any healthy characters left, and it came down to I had a healthy Black Widow with an extract standing on one of the wedding parties, and he had to kill her with his Black Widow, who was dazed. So he wasn't able to do that. I was at 14. Final score was 16-17. And that was as close to the game as we could have got at turn 5 there.
Yeah, that's very close game. Well done, Borka. So, excuse me, I'm about to. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Well done, Borka. Congratulations on winning the tournament. And I get. Oh no, I'm doing it again.
I did get a second cool Cyclops card, but I did give it to Brad, so I was happy to do that.
Which I very greatly appreciate. It's awesome. It makes me want to play Cyclops again.
Do it. I like him.
I have it for free. Should have held it over him.
I'm gonna get 2 more, Brandon.
All right. Well, thank you, Borka, for talking about your games. Steven, do you have any games that you want to discuss before we move on from this segment?
Yes, my drought is finally done. I actually got 3 games in yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and made a day of it. It was nice. Not quite the exciting tournament that you guys had, but my first opponent was Mary. She was playing her Criminal Syndicate again, and we were playing at 16. It was the secure scenario that drew you towards. No, those the one that damages you if you're holding something. They can activate it. And then we were playing
and they can choose to drop it or not. Yeah,
correct. And then
I forget
we
what
were
that
also playing the extracts that were the ones that drew you in to points. But we were playing at 16. She took Kingpin, Rhino, Bullseye, Black Cat, and Spectacular Spider-Man. And I went with my Web Warriors, and I did Green Goblin, Venom, Carnage, and Elektra. She is my new addition.
You meant your spider foes, right?
Spider foes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you said Elektra, not Electro, right?
No, the ninja lady. Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So, needless to say, Mary's a good opponent, but she's always focused on getting the extracts. I scored 5. She scored 3 in the first round. And then it flipped the next round. And then she got a hold of all 4 of the extracts in the next round, which was kind of dicey. But it was at this time that Carnage went off, and the play of the game was I was going after her Kingpin because he had an extract, Rhino had an extract, and Bullseye had an extract. And Kingpin was the only one that I could reach. So she sacrificed into Bullseye, who only had 1 point left. Carnage had to move to get to Kingpin. And then, of course, dazed. KO'd Bullseye. Did paint the town red. Rhino was on 1 point because I then got to move short. And then I dazed him, dropping 2 of those objectives. And then I came over with Venom to take out Black Cat and get her objective. And Electra and the ninjas were doing their part. Electra under Green Goblin really good because that Ancient Blades does a pierce, and then after the pierce, then if they still have one defense left, you can make them reroll with Goblin's leadership. So it's pretty deadly.
Mm-hmm.
But that game ended up 17-14. So Carnage, in the right situations, because she only had that cane laser that I was scared of. Boy, in the right situations, he goes off. Borka was talking about his little vampire list. I think Carnage is good into those kind of spread out lists that have a lot of twos because, yeah, he'll get damaged because energy attacks, so on and so forth. But dang, he's it looks like a feast to him. So I'm playing him. Yeah, I'm playing him in very specific situations, and he's proving to be a menace, really. So, but after that, I played a gentleman named Matt. I actually played 2 games with Matt. Did my Spider Foes again, and he was trying out his Emma Frost. And we ended up at 20 points, which was Spider Infected and Superpowered Scoundrels. He brought Emma Frost, Mr. Sinister, Iceman, Gladiator, and I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, Angel. Brought Angel. In this one, I brought Green Goblin, Elektra with her ninjas, and then Doc Ock, Lizard, Mysterio, and Hood. So, needless to say, I went up 7-2 in the first round.
Oh my!
Because some things went off, and then in the second round, I was up 14-2, and we called the game there. Yeah, we called the game there. Doc Ock went off. Lizard dove the back, stole things. Hood healed Lizard after he put a bunch of damage into him. So, and the ninjas and Elektra were just doing work. It was pretty impressive.
Did Gladiator do? Oh, you were answering my question before I asked it. Did Gladiator do anything?
No, Doc Ock threw him away.
Okay.
Every time. He's size 2. That's his weakness. Doc Ock just throws him away. He got a confidence token because he hit somebody. Who'd he hit? He hit the ninjas because I had the ninjas on that side, but he hit the ninjas and he got a confidence token. Then Doc got enough power, and then he threw him into the taco truck, and he took damage and he lost his confidence token. I mean, it's just one of those things where, a 3-threat's not supposed to control a 3-threat, but in 3-threat is not supposed to control a 6-threat, excuse me. But in that situation, Doc Ock's throw is kind of sneaky. People are like, oh, it's only size 2, but we looked it up, and you know how people are like, I need a size 4 throw, I need a size 4 throw. Well, for people's information, we looked it up. There's only 13 characters out of 222 that are size 4 in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So take that for what it is.
That's why Bill's so good.
Well, but if Bill doesn't fit your plan, then he's kind of useless. So
Bill's never useless.
I wouldn't take him in my Spider Foes, that's for sure. So, then we played a second game, and I switched affiliations. I wanted to try the new Doctor Strange out, so I did Doctor Strange Defenders. We ended up at 17 points because we had Unexpected Guest and Deadly Meteors. He was playing Hellfire Club again. He ran Mystique instead of Gladiator in this list, and he ran Psylocke instead of Mr. Sinister. I happen to go with Doctor Strange and Wong, the new Magic, Punisher, and Elektra with her ninjas. So Elektra made all 3 games. And this game was a little bit more grindy, as I expected it to be. But Doctor Strange is a champ. He got to activate models 3 times, and his power economy was just off the chart by rolling shields all the time. Because I set up on a piece of terrain that was size 5, so he always got cover. So he always got that shield, and he always got to get a power from it. So, like I said, Elektra was doing work. Magic was doing work. She was quite impressive. Punisher was kind of holding down one side against Angel and Psylocke, but he finally went down. I was kind of expecting that. But needless to say, the game ended up 20-14 in the end. So, but Matt's comment was that the Hex that I was putting out all the time, he said he counted at least over 20 times where he couldn't explode his crits. And it was really dampening.
Everyone was hexed, and every time he rolls a crit, nothing can happen.
Right. So the dice are capped, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yep.
And you can work out strategies really, really effectively if you know what can happen versus what, like if you roll 3 crits in a roll out of 4 dice, usually those 3 crits can turn into 1 or 2 more hits. But, it's like, no, it's just going to be those 3 hits that you have to deal with. So, and Wong right now with Strange, very good, because Strange gives him 2 dice, plus he gets the extra dice, so a 6 defense Wong is very, very nice.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Stephen, and congratulations on your wins. It sounds like you've had an effective return to the game.
Well, hopefully I'm not as rusty as I think.
I am quite rusty, seeing as how I'm doing a brand new affiliation, and I haven't played for a while, it seems like. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's move on to the trivia game. Hey, Brad, do you have some trivia for me to solve?
I do. So let me explain this because it's been a while. And I explain it every episode we do anyway. But Fred here has read very few comic books, and only the ones I've given him. So I thought it would be fun to give Fred trivia about the comics that he doesn't know anything about. Turns out that is fun, at least for me. So the answer is a character that is represented in the game of Marvel Crisis Protocol. And here's how the points work. So if Fred gets it off the first clue, he gets 3 points. If he gets it off of the hint after that, he gets 2 points. If he has to ask Borka, Brandon, and Steven for help, he gets 1 point. He needs, let's go with 6 points to win. Okay. So, our first character. This character was originally part of a group of women meant for their king to pick his wife. But he was not interested in any of them. In the new Ultimate Universe, however, this character does end up marrying that king.
Okay. So, the king, I think, is either King T'Challa or Black Bolt. And I am gonna guess that this... is this Okoye?
Your hint. This character is a great strategist in general, but has no superpowers. She has also led a group of secret agents on her country's behalf that includes Brew, a smart member of a race of aliens based on the Aliens movie, Gorilla Man, a man cursed to be a gorilla, and Manwolf, the astronaut son of J. Jonah Jameson that found a ruby on the moon that made him a werewolf.
So it's Okoye, right?
Yeah, it is Okoye. Good job.
Yeah.
3 points. You're halfway there already, which is no fun for our listeners. Do worse.
I'm sorry for being good at this game.
Whoa. Don't get ahead of yourself.
That was very unlike you, though, to get that right. Your second character. This character once foiled Doom's plan to create an army of super vegetables. This was after this character helped create a Hulk in a misadventure. One of this character's adventures was to locate his missing thought balloons.
Is this Elsa Bloodstone?
Yes, his missing thought balloons is definitely Elsa Bloodstone. That is incorrect.
Okay. Hey, do you know why I said that? I said that because of the vegetable people, and wasn't she in a thing where she was fighting like broccoli men or something?
Oh, yeah, there were broccoli men in next one.
Yeah.
That makes sense why you would say that.
Okay.
In more recent stories, this character teams up with alternate universe versions of himself. He is unique in that he may be the only version of this character that wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider, but started as a spider and was transformed into his current form.
Is this Spider Ham? Is this Spider Ham?
That is correct. Do you know?
Okay.
Do you know Spider Ham's origin?
I'm guessing from context that he was a spider bitten by a pig.
Bitten by specifically Aunt May.
Oh.
Aunt May in that universe, who is a pig, created an atomic blow dryer, and she was using it, and something happened, and she went crazy for a second and bit him, and he turned into a pig.
That all makes sense.
Yeah.
It tracks.
And then she adopts him. All right. So, Fred, point check here. You have 5 points. You just need one more to win.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. This is where I flub it.
Yeah, I hope so. Your next character, and your first hint is, this character once threw a perfect game of baseball.
Is it Bullseye?
Your hint.
Uh-huh.
This character once had their spine broken by his arch nemesis when his arch nemesis drops him from a great height. This character went to Japan to get his spine replaced by adamantium. That's the same metal that coats Wolverine's bones, restoring his mobility. He then refuses to work for the man that did this and goes after his old nemesis again. Would you like to take a guess now?
Is it Bullseye?
It is Bullseye. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So you've got 8 points.
Okay.
So your bonus question, which is worth 0 points if you get right, and -3 points if you get wrong, is...
Okay.
What do these characters have in common?
They all would have a place, although they weren't all there in Borka's list of twos, because they're all twos.
That is correct. You have won this week, Fred.
I have won this week.
Hey, Fred, I'm going to give you that good job back.
You didn't even get any help. Yeah. And you got 2 of them on the first clue. I have to make this game harder.
This is the
concept. That says more about the person making the questions than the person answering the questions.
How am I
We
supposed
know Fred
to...
hasn't got smarter.
I fully expected Fred to not even know what a perfect game is. Like, how do I expect him to get that answer right?
Can I be honest? I don't know what a perfect game is, but I can understand through context that being able to throw very well makes it more likely for you to throw a perfect game. Is a perfect game you strike out every single person with no balls?
Fred, don't
Is that
try to
it?
guess what a perfect game is. We're not
No,
going to
Is it a
it's
specific
27.
number? It's a
A
specific number
perfect
of
game.
pitches.
Fred, a perfect game is 27 outs in a row.
Okay.
No walks, no hits, no errors.
And you're not allowed to say that that they're throwing a no-hitter until they actually succeed.
You can throw a no-hitter while throwing walks and having errors. You cannot have a
Oh.
perfect game with having walks and errors.
Okay.
So, just for reference, Bullseye gives up being an assassin, completely changes his personality, his takes on a new name and all that stuff, and quits everything to join a baseball game to then pitch a perfect game and then quit then quit baseball.
You know what? Good for him. He's making his life better. He's making better choices.
Then he immediately quits baseball and goes back to killing people, Fred.
Well, okay.
I mean,
I want you to... That was a two-part issue, and it made me so happy because when I first heard of Bullseye as a kid who loved baseball, I was like, if I was Bullseye, I would just go play baseball. And then they did it.
They did.
Okay, well, thank you, Brad, for that game of trivia. I had a lot of fun. I don't know about the rest of you. I don't know about everyone else.
I enjoyed it.
Who just had to sit through listening to me talk. All right.
It was nice. I didn't have to pay attention.
The person that we are here to cover today is the aforementioned Bullseye, otherwise known as Benjamin Poindexter. Brad, hold on. You previously said that there's not an R in point. Oh, wait, that was off the podcast. Okay, never mind. That wasn't even on the podcast.
I did, and there isn't.
It's Benjamin. Benjamin
Poindexter? There's an
R
R
isn't-
there.
Oh no,
Dexter.
but Borka
He's talking about
said
Benjamin.
Benjamin.
yeah.
Oh,
Put
okay,
an R
okay.
in the first name. Yeah, Poindexter has an R at the end.
Yeah.
But
Why I was
you're
confused.
right. That was off the podcast. That was the audio check for
Yeah, that was during
listeners
the
at
audio
home.
Sorry. All right. Well, Benjamin Poindexter's defenses are 3, 3, and 2. He has 4 stamina on both sides of his card. He's a threat value 2, a size 2, and a movement speed of medium. Hey, Brad, why don't you do his first 2 attacks? Or his only
Okay.
attacks.
Yeah, his only attacks. They're both physical. First one, throwing knife, is range 3 now. 4 dice, cost 0, gain a power. They don't benefit from cover, and has wild bleed after the attack is resolved. His second attack is called Pincushion. It's range 4, 5 dice, it costs 4. They don't benefit from cover. They gain bleed automatically after the attack is resolved, and has an automatic rapid fire where they get to make this attack again. I don't know
All
why I
right,
said they, he.
Yeah. Brandon, why don't you do his first superpower there?
Active hit and run for 2 power. This character can make an action. This character immediately makes an attack action followed by a move action. Can only be used once per turn. And then hit reactive. I never miss for 1 power. After
Keep going.
an attack made by this character is resolved, if no damage was dealt as a result of the attack, this character may use this superpower. The target character suffers 1 damage.
Okay, and I guess Borka, why don't you do the final superpower?
All right, and it's also a reactive. It is Parting Shot. It's 2 power. It says after an attack targeting this character is resolved, this character may use the superpower. The attacking character suffers the damage. This character may advance away from the attacking character short.
Okay, I was planning to have each of you do 1 superpower. Brandon
While I had
ran
to
away
do
with it.
both of the attacks.
Yeah. That's right. Well. Okay, let's start off. Brandon, you haven't spoken much during this podcast.
You get to go first.
I got
here on
yelled
the-
at for speaking too much
It's
on
true.
that last segment.
Yeah, you did.
True.
You did. Why don't you give us your opinion here on this guy's card?
He's great. For 2 threat, I think this was one of the biggest changes the game had is when they changed Bullseye from a 3 to a 2 for a lot of different reasons. He became extremely playable. He really will alter how you play, how you make decisions with tactics cards, how you do a lot of things, because leaving characters on 1 health or even 2 health and attacking him with their final action can be really detrimental, because if you attack him with your final action, if you don't daze him, he can parting shot, turn around and throwing knife you. And even at that point, you need to have more than 3 health left. Like it really makes you think when you're playing. Yeah, I mean he's for 2 threat. Like it's really hard to get more value from him. Like he has a hit and run, so he can move and act. He can essentially do 3 actions a turn with 2 power. He always gains a power from his main attack. He can always guarantee damage by gaining a power on his attack. And then having any kind of defensive tech with parting shot, dealing damage out of activation and moving away, into cover behind away out of range, to protect himself he's just really, really good.
Yeah. Steven, what are your thoughts here on this guy?
Well, we probably won't see him as much anymore, considering his range went down. So I think that's a good thing. But he's the bane of the spider people, isn't he? I mean, alive on 1, and you have a bullseye out there, and well, people are dead. So no, he's a good character.
I disagree. I think we're gonna still see him plenty. I think that it does hurt him going from 4 to 3 on his range. That is a recent change, everybody out there. He used to be range 4 on his throwing knife, and he went down to range 3 in the most recent set of erratas. And I still think he's quite good. It does tone him down a little bit, but I still think he's very playable.
You don't have to make a commitment to go get him. That's the whole thing.
Yes, yeah. Borka, what are your thoughts here on Bullseye?
Yeah. I think Bullseye has been a part of 2 of Atomic Mass's best erratas. When they turned him into a very little played 3 into an excellent 2. And then I think that this change to him on the latest errata was perfect. I've played a lot of Bullseye this past year between Criminal Syndicate and Cabal. I think on Longshanks, he's my most played character. When they first started talking about it, I was worried they were going to shorten the range on his spender, and that was going to be too much, in my opinion. The change to his throwing knives, from my personal experience, really doesn't matter, because I tend to play in a good meta, and most of my opponents are pretty good, and they would just go kill him, or you're standing somewhere where he can fight on the point he's at. It's a nice change though for newer players, because it creates a lot of feel bads when you got a guy who's standing way back and he's like picking guys off from further away. So I thought that was a really smart change for the game in general, because new players are the lifeblood of your game. So making him feel less oppressive to people who aren't used to dealing with him, because at the end of the day, he's got 4 health and he's 3/3/2. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you wanted to kill him, you could kill him. Parting shot is sweet though. It's a nice defensive tech. It's just kind of like what Toad has. But yeah, I absolutely love him. I still slam him in all my lists. I'm still going to take him a ton, because he basically just does what I need him to do, what he's always done. And then under Cabal, he's sick in Dark Rain. He really can feel bad. But But yeah, for the most part, changing the throw knives but keeping his spender at the long range, he still feels really good to play. So I'm a big fan of Bullseye.
All right. And Brad, what do you have to add to this? Going last,
Fred,
as usual.
what could I possibly have to
I don't know.
add to this
I just wanna
2-point
throw it to you.
character? Yeah, he's really good at finishing off characters. I also think the range 3 change was good and not super relevant most of the time. And I think people do go after him because he almost always has an extract, I feel like. He is
right, or he's sitting on a point for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's scoring points.
And he's pretty easy to take out at 4 health. So,
And any attack going into him is just better than not going into somebody else.
Sure, unless that switches a point over from. But whatever. Anyway, I think he's good.
Brandon,
Yeah.
you meant that in a good way, right? Like,
Yeah,
Like it-
where he's a 2-threat, like any attacks go like a
Yeah.
2-threat that you have to attack is problematic for your opponent because it's a positive
yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you're
I see.
playing Criminal Syndicate and they're attacking Bullseye and not attacking Kingpin, like you're in a better spot because of it.
I've had plenty of games where Master of the World and Bullseye are standing next to each other and they attack Bullseye, and Red Skull's like, "Sweet, okay, yeah, get him. He's a jerk."
Yeah, I gotta say it's interesting how I think that this is the most errated character in the game because they changed his threat value, which has been the biggest change that has ever happened to a character. I don't think that's happened to any other character. I could be wrong, but I think that has never happened before or since. And you can tell immediately the moment the errata happened, he saw the table, and he never saw the table before that errata. Like the slight change of going from a 3-threat to a 2-threat made him immediately much more playable. He is one of the best 2s still. Maybe not the best, but he's certainly one of the best. He does not have a bad thing on his card. There's no negative to taking him. He's just fragile. And he can score points. He can cause damage. He's like a full package, too. All right. Are there any tactics cards that feature him? I don't think there are.
Face on it.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. There is one with it. That one being cruelty, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I guess it's good with him. You probably take it with other people though. Like, for those of you who are listening, cruelty is a Criminal Syndicate specific tactics card where after an attack of yours does damage to your opponent, you may use cruelty. And you get to follow up that attack with a free non-action attack that is a mystic attack at 5 dice that you cannot add dice to, which means that you cannot add crits. Like, you cannot roll additional dice from crits. Is that it? Is that everything about that card? I think it is. Anyway, it's Criminal Syndicate specific, so that's the only thing that ties it to Bullseye. Bullseye's affiliations, I should say, are Cabal and Criminal Syndicate. All right. Does anyone have anything else to add on this guy? I think he is very simple. Like, he is very straightforward.
I like his sculpt a lot. I think it's a really classic, clean looking model.
Oh yeah. They did not go crazy with it. It's just a guy standing there holding a throwing knife ready to throw it.
And they did that thing where him and Daredevil look like they are in the middle of a fight if you put the models facing each other.
Oh, okay.
They've done that a couple times. So they did that with them, and they did it with the original Wolverine and Sabretooth.
Okay. That's why Sabretooth is having that crazy. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that crazy stance.
Yeah. So.
And they actually did it with two models that are in separate boxes too.
Which two?
Abomination and the
Immortal Hulk?
Seventh Threat Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, Immortal Hulk, yeah.
Okay. Because they're both throwing concrete.
No, Immortal Hulk's not throwing anything.
Oh, okay.
No,
They're in
Immortal
the street
Hulk's like jumping with his arms up, and
yeah.
And then Abomination's like got the thing ready to hit him with it. Yeah, I can see that. They definitely look like they're about to clash.
All right.
Fred's mind is absolutely blown right now. He had no idea any of this was ever happening.
I did not. You're correct. We need to give Bullseye a letter grade. So, I mean, we just spent the past 15 minutes talking about how good he is. He's very, very good. Like, it's so good that they nerfed him in the most recent errata, and he still sees the table. I think that he is. He was an A+. I think when he had 4 range to his throwing knife. That might be too high because he is a 2-threat. But I'm going to give this iteration where he has a 3 range throwing knife an A-. I'm giving him an A- because he's still great. Like, he is a 2-threat model who will carry himself like a 3-threat model. All right, Steven, what letter grade would you like to give to Bullseye?
B+.
A B+. Okay. Brad, how about you? Where are you at?
A.
A gentleman's A. Okay. Borka, how about you? Where are you standing here with Bullseye?
Oh, he's a sexy little S.
He's an S model.
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. He's a 2 that carries himself like a 3. I think he's an auto include in both of his affiliations. I think basically any list, he's a 2 you can bring that doesn't hurt your 10 at all. You know what I mean? He can sit on a point for you. He can finish characters off. If he has something and they hit him, he can slippery away from it. It's like I don't think you'd ever look at a list and see him and think, "Oh, Bullseye? What's your thoughts on that guy?" It's like he does everything that he does. So yeah, for me, he's an S.
He's meat and potatoes. All right.
Steak and potatoes.
Steak and potatoes. And Brandon, what are your thoughts here on this guy?
What'd you give him, Fred?
I gave him an A-.
All right, cool. I don't like agreeing with you. I'm gonna go. I'm an A+ simply because I've stated too many times that I don't think a 2 can be an S.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah, so I think 2s should be S's because they are only 2 points.
Yeah,
I bet you could win a tournament with a bunch of 2s.
Okay, just an overview here. We gave him an S, an A+, an A, an A-, and a B+.
Yeah, we made a complete spectrum. Whoops.
He's on the spectrum.
Which averages, he probably actually is. Which averages to an A, making me the most correct.
Yeah. Okay.
He did that math just to say that.
I changed my grade as Brad wrong because I'd like to make an addendum here.
Oh, okay. Well, that is our take on Bullseye. He's good. You should play him. He comes in a box with a Daredevil who saw a Renaissance. Who got also much better
in the. He's also going to be in the Criminal Syndicate box.
I don't think they make that box anymore, Fred.
You're probably right, but you can probably still find it somewhere.
He is in the Criminal Syndicate box, which has MODOK, Kingpin, him, and Hood. Yeah.
So, which MODOK?
MODOK 1.
Okay, 5-threat. 5-threat MODOK.
Yes, 5-threat MODOK. Yeah, 5-threat MODOK, Kingpin, Hood, and Bullseye. So that's how you'll be able to get him going forward.
Oh,
That's a good
okay.
box.
That is a good box. All right. Well, Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Benjamin Poindexter?
I sure do, and I rarely have this problem, but I did with him. I actually had a hard time narrowing it down to like I ended up picking 3. For example, that comic that Brandon mentioned earlier, where he quits being an assassin to throw a perfect game, is one I had to cut. It did not make the list. Yeah. So
but 2010, it's a 2-parter, worth the read.
It's called Bullseye Perfect Game, right? Or something like that.
It's literally just Bullseye. I think the perfect game.
Yeah.
But it's a 2-part series. It's just 2 issues. If I remember correctly, the first issue is Bullseye with like a cross arrow on the cover, and the second issue is him in a baseball uniform.
Yeah. And it's told from the perspective of a sports collector and him telling the story. Anyway, not on my list. I probably should have cut this first one, but it is his first appearance. Daredevil 131 and 132. This is Marv Wolfman and William Robert Brown. And this is probably one of the worst Bullseye stories, just a heads up. Not that it's a bad story. It's just Bullseye has a surprising number of good stories. But Daredevil is investigating a slumlord when a man is killed by someone that never misses. Bullseye pulls Daredevil into a very public fight at the circus and beats him handily. Can Daredevil even defeat this new foe? And Daredevil's the hero, so yeah, eventually.
They fight at a circus?
They fight at a circus.
Very publicly?
Very publicly.
Okay.
And Daredevil
I'm trying to
loses to
think of how
Bullseye.
How do you lose to Bullseye and survive? Doesn't he just throw like a paperclip through your eyeball or something?
That won't hurt Matt Murdock. He's blind.
Oh, fair.
A lot of them are
does
very close
nothing.
battles where he gets away.
Yeah.
And technically getting away is a win for a bad guy.
He beats Daredevil up pretty bad on this one. And gets away. So anyway, the next one, I had to pick something from the Frank Miller run. So Daredevil 181, Frank Miller and Klaus Jensen. And actually, this is probably the quintessential Frank Miller Daredevil comic. It's told from Bullseye's perspective, but he breaks out of prison with a migraine pill.
With a migraine? He just throws a migraine pill?
I think he spits it, which was which inspired the new TV series if you've seen it. And then he starts hunting down the person Kingpin replaced him with as his top assassin, which happens to be Elektra. And this is very famously the issue where Bullseye kills Elektra. Just straight up kills her. And then Daredevil drops him from, I think it's from high wires, but it might be off a building. It's somewhere up really high, and drops him and breaks his back.
Okay.
It's a very famous issue. So that's a good one. Read that one. And then I picked a Bullseye miniseries. They're all good, but I picked Bullseye Greatest Hits by Daniel Way and Steve Dillon, specifically because he's being interrogated and reveals his pack story. Which
we learn why he throw good?
You find out in the story, just a little bit of spoiler, that he's just making it up, but there are kernels of truth in there. So, yes, we do find out why he throw good. Fred thinks.
Okay.
At least why he told them he throw good.
Okay. It is weird that there are a lot of good comics that feature this guy, and his superpower is he throws good.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
The story he tells in this comic of his backstory is pretty much the one they go with for the Daredevil TV series.
Okay.
About him being like a baseball player and who was a really good pitcher and all this stuff. And then a marksman. And now in the comic, he's a military marksman. And in the TV show, he was a police marksman. But
Is it more impressive to throw good or shoot good?
Well, I mean,
he does both.
I think it's probably more effective to shoot good, but it's more impressive to throw good. I'll say that.
He does both.
Okay.
We were talking the other day, Bullseye becomes Hawkeye at one point. Norman Osborn takes control of S.H.I.E.L.D. and renames it Hammer, and he decides to have his own team of Avengers, so he picks people he can trust, and by trust, I mean trust to do the wrong things. And
yeah.
But they disguise themselves as regular Avengers. So Bullseye is the new Hawkeye. Matt Gargan, who's normally the Scorpion, has the symbiote at this point and is the Spider-Man on the team.
Okay.
Daken, Wolverine's evil son, is Wolverine. Moonstone, who is a crazy psychologist with some sort of powers, she is Miss Marvel on the team. So they're all like pretending to be these Avengers. He also makes a team of bad guy X-Men. My favorite member of the bad guy X-Men is Professor Xavier, who is really just Mystique.
Oh.
It's Mystique pretending to be Professor Xavier for the cameras. It's so brilliant. It's so good. All right, that's it. That's all the comics I had. I had 3 comics and a spiel about Norman Osborn, I guess.
And Hammer.
And Hammer.
All right, Brad. Thank you for regaling us about those comic books. I guess the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. This one is so. I wanted to do this off of Bullseye from the TV show, but that guy has only been in a bunch of TV that I have never seen. Like, he's in a lot of shows, but I've not really seen many of them. So I'm gonna do Colin Farrell, who was Bullseye in the very bad Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
You should watch the Elektra movie. It's much better.
I'll take your word for it. Colin Farrell's a great actor. Like, he's very good. All you need to do is watch the new Batman to know how good of an actor he is. But he was in a movie way back in 2002 that I am a huge fan of. And I have been watching quite a few Tom Cruise movies recently. So I'm going to recommend Minority Report. This is a movie about the way that police in the future are able to predict murders and the ways in which that is ethically and morally gray. Maybe it's a great thing for society, but also maybe it's not. And I don't want to spoil too much about it, but Colin Farrell is in it. He is playing a cop who's trying to solve a murder before it happens, and he is very good in the movie. That is my recommendation, Minority Report. And I think that's it for the podcast today, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being on the podcast today. Thank you, Borka, for coming out with us. And talking about your win in the tournament. Thank you, Brandon, for finally being on one of these.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I was gonna have you go through all the characters that you missed and what you would give them, but that would be quite a few. But I'm glad you were here, and I hope that continues. And thank you, Stephen, for being here as always, and Brad. If I had thought thanked you every single time, I'd thank you every episode. And that is it for our show today. I hope that everyone out there listening to my voice has a wonderful rest of the week. Goodbye, everyone.